To further weigh in, let's welcome Senate Chairman for the National Iranian Congress and author of Comrade Ayatollah, Amir Fakhravar, along with retired Lieutenant Colonel for the U.S. Army, President of Project Centennial, and 2020 Trump campaign National Security Advisor, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer. Tony, I'm going to go to you first.
Sure.
Why do we have troops in Syria? I think Carla laid it out a little bit. And should we have more? And should we be helping the newly formed Syrian government out more to stabilize and root out ISIS extremists from their own ranks?
So the premise is terrorists are drawn to ungoverned space. It's like a petri dish. So the idea is to make sure that there's no ungoverned spaces. Smyrna and the area that we're talking about was actually ungoverned for a period during the mid-2010s. As a matter of fact, 2015, ISIS took over that area to include that city. We've worked since then to include during the first Trump term, Kelly, and you were part of that. The idea was to work with our local allies. And as a matter of fact, that's how we were able to beat ISIS. My friend and colleague, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Joe Dunford, Fighting Joe Dunford, came up with the by, with, and through strategy, which was used during the first Trump administration to push ISIS out of Iraq, back into Syria, and then some of our troops have stayed there since then. So that's what we're seeing here. That's why the troops are still there. We are trying to work with our local allies, especially the Kurds, to establish governance and effective counterinsurgency forces that will stop ISIS. The answer is, do we need more? No. I think we need to train folks and turn it over to someone else and eventually pull our forces out of there. The longer we're there, the more we become a target, as what happened over the past weekend.
Amir, your thoughts on this weekend's attack and what President Trump should do in terms of retaliation? He has promised retaliation.
Thank you for having me, Kelly. It's very interesting. Look at all the terrorist attacks is happening all around the world. They are targeting the Jews, they are targeting the Christians, and they are everywhere. But who they are, we are talking about. Either they are Marxists, the leftists, or the Islamists. These two ideologies, they are at war with the West, with the American values. And I'm sure the President Trump administration can understand the situation, and they know how dangerous these two ideologies are. As I want to quote Charlie Kirk, when he mentioned on X the last day before getting killed, he said, Islam is the sword the left is using to slit the throat of America. That's true. The State Department, President Trump's State Department, Marco Rubio's State Department is amazing. It's not like Obama and Biden's State Department. The State Department should understand the situation. The army is doing a great job over there. It was doing a great job in Iraq, in Afghanistan too. But the problem is at the State Department. It should be a supervision, very strong supervision about the new constitution, which will come. They are drafting right now. Al-Jolani in Syria, he's drafting the new constitution. The State Department should have a strong role to don't let them have Islam as official religion in the Constitution. In the United States Constitution, Christianity is not official, but the people are Christian, the majority of the people. Islam should not be official in their new constitution. It should not be in Lebanon's new constitution. It shouldn't be in Iraq's new constitution, but it's a mistake of State Department, which is right now Islam is the official religion. When Islam is there, then at the schools, they are still training the kids to be radical. And you know what? The Muslims right now around the world, they are making fun of the West with the multiculturalism. Multiculturalism is exactly empowering radical Islam, and more Americans will be dead until you go to the root of it.
You know what, Tony? Amir is right. If you look at the commonality of all these different terror events that happened over the weekend, there is radical Islam is at the heart of it. The father and son duo over in Australia, the son was tied to an ISIS-backed group that Australian security forces identified but didn't think he was an immediate threat. You have this threat in California that Pam Bondi released today and the FBI foiled, but the commonality there is that they were pro-Palestinian militant group that wanted to free Palestine. And then when you look at what happened over the weekend in Syria, it was a radicalized ISIS undercover agent who killed 3 Americans. How does the Western world fight against this sort of evil?
That's a great point. And we've had issues relating to the Muslim Brotherhood, which has been the root feeder organization for a number of these terrorist organizations, and that's in Egypt. Kelly, we can't fix Islam. Islam has to fix itself. The issue is radical and political Islam that is primarily the driver of the violence. President al-Sisi, the current president of Egypt, called for an internal referendum within the religion that will basically change it and renounce any form of violence within the context of Islam. And that's something that Islam has to do for itself, with itself. And I support President al-Sisi. He called for this over 10 years ago. So it's an issue that the imams within the religion have to put forward. Until then, we can work with elements of Islam. I work with elements of Islam in England, the Association of British Muslims, who are opposed to any violence. I think we should look at those groups and work with them to help them fix their own problem. We can't fix Islam. Islam has to fix Islam by an internal referendum which removes violence. And that's something that we should all call for, is the fixing of the root causes of this, which is radical Islam.
And we also can enforce our own immigration laws. You know, that's why the president has been so dedicated to securing the southern border. That's why those coming in from Afghanistan, he wants to do a second and third vetting. Australia and Europe could take a lead out of President Trump's book in this. Amir Fakhravar, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, thank you both for being here with us today.
Thanks, Kelly.